Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to another episode of the Minecraft Survival Let's Play. So I took a couple of weeks off recording videos over Christmas and the New Year. And to be honest, I didn't really play too much on the world at all. But I did come on a few times, and what I did was I collected some more items just from around the storage room and stuff that I could add to the checklist. So most of these items are just things that took items that I already had or that I've got farms for. So I'm just going to go through all of the shulker boxes with the items in, and I'm going to add them to the checklist. The first shulker box here has a load of the workstations and stuff inside. So this was actually the hardest one to do. A lot of these items are pretty difficult to craft. They only take the basic resources like stone and wood and iron, but when you're crafting a load of them, it actually takes quite a while. So I'm going to get all of these and I'm going to add them to the checklist. So that isn't all of the items that I need to collect for this chest. You can still see there's a few more, like the enchantment table, the lodestones, and then a few more of the respawn anchors. To get the slightly damaged anvil and the very damaged anvil, I just dropped them from like the top of the base all the way to the bottom. I think that's like the easiest way to get them instead of like using them loads of times. So yeah, that is pretty much all of this chest completed, apart from a few items at the bottom. And I actually forgot to put the ender chest in because it's stacked up with the ender chest that I always carry around. Next up, I just crafted up all of these walls here. I don't have the red sandstone to get these walls yet, but I've got all of the other ones. So I've added all of those items to the checklist as well. Next up is just a few items I'm going to add to the mob drops here. So I can't believe I've not added the feathers yet, and then I've just made the fermented spider eyes. And in the previous episode, I built the iron farm, and I got lots of ink or glow ink sacks from that farm as well. So I've decided to add those to the checklist. And if I move on to the next one, it's for the iron and wood chest here. So like I said, I built the iron farm in the last episode, so I've just got loads of iron. So I thought I might as well go ahead and make all of these items to add to this chest. And for some reason I put the clocks in this chest. I'm not really sure why I did that, but I think that is all of the items in this chest fully completed now. So I can actually go behind here and turn these lamps on. So that's another chest complete. And then I think the only items I've got left now is the ones for the ore chest at the end. So a few episodes ago I went mining for diamonds for 24 hours. And I got a load of the diamonds and then I just completely forgot to add them to the checklist. So I'm going to add all of these items now. And I've also just got a load of gold and iron and copper from previous mining sessions and stuff. So I'm going to get all of these items and I'll add these to the checklist. There's actually not too many items to go in this chest now. I've still got the netherite, which is obviously going to take a long time. And then I need some deep slate emeralds, which is also going to take a long time. I think that might be the rarest block in the game at the moment. And then I need the regular emerald and diamond ore. So there's not really too many more blocks to go, but it's going to take a long time just because of how hard they are to get. So that's pretty much everything I did in between episodes. I just spent some time getting some items together to add to the checklist. And there's actually an item here I wanted to talk about quickly. So in the glass and banners chest, I've completed all of this chest. I did it a while ago. But there's one more item that I need, and that is the Woodland Mansion banner. So I added this to the checklist like 2 years ago when I created it. But I don't actually know if this item exists. So I've got like a memory, like a vague memory from years ago. I made a base in a woodland mansion and there were some woodland mansion banners in there, like unique banners that you could only find in the woodland mansions. But I've tried researching them online and I can't find any evidence of them even ever existing. And then I went to explore a few mansions as well on the creative world and I couldn't find any there. So I think this chest might actually be fully completed, because I'm not actually sure if this item exists. So yeah, if anyone can actually let me know for sure if that does exist or if I just made it up, just let me know down in the comments. There is the Illager banner, but that's not the one I'm thinking of. It's like a completely different design, and I'm actually just not sure if it ever existed at all. So I just wanted to get straight into today's project. So I started building my own skin. I've wanted to do this for a long time on this world, and I thought this was the perfect project to finally get it done. So you can see here in the background, I'm building my own skin, and I know that the sugarcane farm is blocking the bottom of it, and I am thinking about removing that sugarcane farm and building a better one somewhere. So don't really pay too much attention to that right now. But anyway, once I built the skin, I made a way down to the project and then a way up from the project. So this is going to be inside of my Minecraft player's skin. And I know I haven't explained what the project is yet, but I'm just going to try and get the beginnings of it done, and then I'm going to explain what all of my plans are. So once I made a way down into the project, I just started digging out some room. I wasn't really sure what I was going to be doing here, but I just knew that I needed some room to build in. So I dug out some space, and then I just started building. And I want to try and mix up my block palette a little bit. Usually if I did a project like this, I would use spruce and some kind of deep slate or stone. So I tried mixing it up using some warped blocks and some black stone, stuff like that. And I do actually like how it ended up looking, but it did take me a few attempts to get it right. Speaking about having a few attempts, once I finished the floor, I did decide that I wanted to change it up a little bit. So I removed most of it and then redid it. So yeah, it did take me quite a few attempts to get this room done. And this is what I managed to come up with in the end. So it's still not finished, I need to do the floor out here. But I think I do like this design. I at least like the walls and the roof. I wasn't really too sure about the floor, that's why I ripped it all out and redid it. And still, I'm not entirely sure if I prefer this design or the one I had before. But it will do for now, I might change it out later. But I do like how it looks overall, like the colour palette and stuff. I tried going for something a little bit different instead of the spruce and the deep slate like I would usually do. And I definitely like how it turned out with the bit of skulk in there and stuff. So yeah, this is the room design that I've got. And I am going to talk about the plans for this project now. So this is in the farming district, if I just head up here. So this is the farming district here. And then I built my skin over on this side. Of course my skin is animated. So I've got like a few different faces that pop up. I decided to use the one with the blue eyes. So that's the one that I've gone for there. That's just like my favourite version of my skin when it cycles through the animations. So down here is where I'm going to build a lot of the smaller farms that I don't want to build up above. And one example that comes to mind is a glow lichen farm. So it's only a little one, it wouldn't take long to build, it wouldn't take up much room. So I thought I could build it down here. Also a cocoa bean farm, I could easily fit that in one of these gaps. So a bunch of the smaller farms that are just going to be too small to build up there, I'm going to build them down here. And also some of the more manual farms that I have to switch on and stuff. So you can see over here these spaces are a little bit bigger. So those spaces over there are 5 blocks along. These spaces here are 7 blocks along. And then the ones down here are 9 blocks along. So I can fit some of the bigger farms in here as well. And I think in here I plan to build a moss farm. So I'm hoping to get to that in today's episode. And you can just ignore all of the blackstone bricks in the walls for now. I just wanted to put something there to fill them in. But all of these are going to have farms in eventually. So it's not going to be all blackstone like this. So I think what I'm going to do is just finish off this floor in here. It shouldn't take too long now I know the design that I'm going for. And then we can maybe start building some of the farms. So like I said, I do want to try and get the moss farm built in today's episode, but I might try and get a few of the smaller ones over here built up as well. I'm not really too sure, but I'll just finish this floor over here and then we'll see what I want to do next. Okay, so I went ahead and I finished the floor down here. And I also went ahead and built the first farm in this area. So this is the glow lichen farm. It's very simple to use, so I've got some shears in here. I've just got to stand around here somewhere and mine the glow lichen from the observer. And then it just detects it and grows some more. So it was very simple to set up, it only took a few minutes. And I'm probably not really going to use this farm too often. I don't often need the glow lichen for anything. But if I do need it, I've got an easy way of getting it over here. So I just come and collect some. And I've actually collected a little bit already up here. And then I'm also storing some more shears up there as well. And I thought I'd quickly show the redstone behind here. So the observer goes into a full block, into a sticky piston with an observer, and then the repeater faces into the dispenser, and of course there's some bone meal in there. I've also got some spare bone meal up here feeding into that dispenser. And all of these buttons are here to stop the glow lichen from spreading behind here. If you don't have the buttons around here, the glow lichen can start spreading onto the walls behind, and that means it's not spreading onto the observer. So the farm would stop working, so that's why I've got all of the buttons back here. And that's also why I've got these walls here as well. So if I didn't have the walls here, the glow lichen would spread onto the side walls as well. So I've made sure that it can't spread anywhere apart from onto this observer right here. So I want to move straight on to the next farm in this area. So I'm going to build it here. I've cleared out the space. And this is going to be a sugarcane farm. And I feel a little bit dumb for admitting this, but I only just found out yesterday that you can use bone meal on sugarcane. I didn't know that was a thing. I'm pretty sure it's not a feature on Java Edition, that's probably why I've never heard of it, because a lot of the content I watch on YouTube is Java content. So yeah, I only just found out yesterday. I don't know how long it's been in the game, but you can use bone meal on sugarcane. So I got some stuff together here, and then I've got my redstone box as well, and I'm going to try and build it in this area. I think I've already planned out how it's going to go, so hopefully it goes to plan and it all works. So to start off, I'm going to make the collection system, which is just going to be one chest there, and then I'm going to have some hoppers all leading into that one chest. So 2 on each side like this, and then the one in the middle that actually goes into the chest. And then I want to get some minecart hoppers on top of all of these hoppers here. So I think the best way to do this is to drop them from above. So if I just do this like this, and then I can put a rail, I think it'll be on this block here, and then a minecart hopper, and if I break this, it should drop down onto the hopper. So I want to do this for all of these here. Okay, all of the minecart hoppers are in place. So now I want to try and get some water in here. So otherwise the sugarcane won't grow unless there's some water behind it. So I should be able to break these and then place some stairs like this. And then if I waterlog all of these, I'm going to be putting the sugarcane on top of these minecart hoppers. I'm going to put some sand there in a minute. So this is going to hydrate it, and then the sugarcane is going to be able to get planted there. So next I'm going to put some dispensers on top of this, like this. And I don't really know exactly what I'm doing. I just assume this design is going to work. I've not actually tested it yet. So I'm not 100% sure what I am doing. I'm just kind of doing it as I go along. But if I put some sand here, I should be able to plant the sugarcane on top of there. I've actually got it in my inventory. So if I put this on here, I should be able to plant it there. So yeah, that's fine. And then when it breaks, it will get picked up and then put straight into the chest. So I think next I'm going to do the observers. And I think I might have messed this up actually. I'm going to have to destroy these first and put the observers down like this. So I need the power part. I forgot what it's called. I'm not very good at redstone terms. But this is like where the power comes out of the observer, and this needs to face into the dispensers. So I'll get the other dispenser out of here, and then I'm going to put the dispensers on the back of that. Above here I can put some pistons like this, and then I need more observers on the top, and these need to be the other way, so the face is facing where the sugarcane is going to grow. So that should be pretty simple to do, just like this. So this is how it's going to look from the front. And then there's a little bit more redstone to do back here. So I think next I should just be able to come down here and place 5 sticky pistons like this. And then 5 observers going into these blocks. So when I power the sticky pistons, the observer gets pushed up. And then it turns into an observer clock, which is going to constantly give an update to the dispenser here and dispense some bone meal. So I think that should be pretty much all of the redstone. I just need to hook it up with some actual redstone. So I'm going to get some repeaters and some dust out of here. So I think this is how simple it is to hook it all up. So I'm going to have a block in this space like right here with a lever on it. And then that's going to activate the redstone. And then it will activate all of the sticky pistons. So I'm pretty sure that's all of it done. And thinking about how this is going to work, I don't think I actually need these observers up here. So I think I'm going to test it first, and then I'll test it without the observers there. So I'm quickly just going to cover this all up with some like deep slate and blackstone, and then we'll see if it works. So this is the farm completed now, and if I turn it on, it should work. So it looks a little bit weird, like all of the pistons are firing at different times. I'm not really sure why that's happening, but I think the observers up there aren't actually doing anything. So I could probably remove the observers and it would still work. I don't think they power anything and it's still working anyway. If I head back here, you can see the observers up there will be blinking, but I don't think they're actually powering anything, so it's pointless them being there. So the farm will work without them, and it's going to be kind of awkward to get out of here now. But yeah, this has only been running for like 40 seconds. And I managed to get 2.5 stacks already. There will be more in the hoppers if I turn this off. It's just going to keep flowing in here. So I'm not going to use this too often because I do have the sugarcane farm up above. but it will be useful if I ever run out of sugarcane and I don't have time to stay AFK. I can just come down here, press the lever, wait here a few minutes, and then I should get quite a lot in the chest down here. So yeah, it's going to be quite a useful farm, even though it probably won't get lots of use. So I went behind and I replaced the observers with the blackstone, and it still works fine. So it was pointless the observers being there, and I'm not sure why that one flew through the glass. But this actually brings me on to my next point. I wasn't really too sure what blocks to use to design the farms down here or to decorate the farms. So for now I'm just sticking with the blackstone and the deep slate because that's like the theme of the rest of the build. And over here I've got a little bit of the warp block as well because that's in the rest of the build. And I've gone for a similar thing over here with the blackstone and the deep slate. But I wasn't sure if I should make every build unique and use like a different block palette. So for the sugarcane farm I could have used sand and some other blocks that go well with the sand blocks. And for like the cocoa bean farm, when I build that eventually, I could use the jungle kind of blocks, so jungle logs and jungle planks. But for right now I'm just going to stick with the deep slate and the blackstone because it matches the rest of the build. But I might go ahead and change that later on and then make every farm unique. But anyway, I think what I want to do now is one last farm in this area. I did want to build a moss farm down here. That was kind of like the main reason I built this place, to build a moss farm in today's episode. But I can't actually fit one down here. I didn't realise how big there was. There's like a lot of redstone that goes off to the sides and stuff. And I wouldn't be able to make it look good in the wall either because I think you need redstone from like all four sides. So I'm not going to build a moss farm down here. I'm going to do that probably up above in the farming district somewhere. But I do want to build a bone meal farm down here. So pretty much every farm that I do build in this area is going to need bone meal. And the only source of bone meal I've got is from the mob farm, and I don't really want to stay AFK at the mob farm all the time just to get bone meal. So I think it'll be a better idea to build a farm that produces bone meal down here, and then I've got easy access to it whenever I need it for any of these projects. So I think that is the farm I'm going to build in this area right here. Okay, I'm back, and I've actually been away from home for the last week. So I went ahead and I built this farm. This is a bone meal farm, but it's also a moss farm at the same time. But like I said, I have been away from home for the last week. So I did take my Xbox with me so I could play on the world a little bit, and this is what I was working on. But unfortunately, I wasn't able to record any clips during that time. So I'm just going to go through how it works and stuff, instead of showing you how I built it. So I actually followed a tutorial for this one, and I'm going to leave that tutorial down in the description. It's by a guy called Just Craft, and I did make a few changes to it afterwards. Like the tutorial is just how to make a bone meal farm, but I've done a few redstone changes so I can get the moss blocks from it if I want, or I can get the bone meal. So that's what the lever is over here. So the way this farm works is if I turn it on, it will produce the moss and the grass, and it will push it all down. And currently it's on the bone meal mode, so I'm getting bone meal, and this will just flow straight back through the system. Then any excess that isn't used by the system goes over to this chest here. And then if I want the moss blocks instead, I just switch this lever here, and now it will be collecting the moss blocks and the azalea bush things. So the azalea and then the flowered azalea, these are all getting collected down here, and then all of the moss gets collected over on this side. So yeah, at the moment I actually need it to be on bone meal because I've already got plenty of moss. I don't really need too much more of that. So I'm quickly going to talk about how the redstone works and what I've done behind the scenes. So if you're not interested in the redstone stuff, just skip forward to this time that's on screen now. But if you are interested, I'm quickly going to try and explain it. So I'm going to switch this off first of all. So if I break through here, you can see that it's currently on the bone meal mode. So the items get dropped straight down into these hoppers down below. And if I try and break through the floor here, I should be able to get down there. And I can't remember where it is. So I think this is actually the wrong place. It's a little bit lower down. There's a lot of redstone and stuff going on back here. It got quite messy, but I've covered most of it up. Okay, so here it is. These are all of the hoppers from below. So all of the items are getting dropped into these hoppers, going into these composters. So they get turned into bone meal, and the bone meal goes into this dispenser here, and then gets shot out, and it goes behind the scenes to the rest of the redstone. and I think I can actually go through here and show you. So if it comes up here, yeah, so it comes up here, and this is like the top of the farm, and all of the bone meal goes into these hoppers here, which goes into the dispensers, and that's how the farm functions through that dispenser down there. So as long as that dispenser has some bone meal in, it will be able to bone meal the moss, and then the moss spreads down there. But when the dispenser and then both of these hoppers here are full of bone meal, the bone meal will just pass straight over here, and then it goes through to the storage system. So this is just a straight item transportation thing, and then it drops straight down into the hopper and goes into the storage system. So that was actually the simple part of the farm, just getting the items to turn into bone meal and then go through the system or go straight past it to the storage. But if I jump down here and then change it to the moss instead, so I change to the moss here, and what this does is extend these pistons that I showed you right there. So now instead of dropping down into the hoppers, the items will drop down onto the ice, and then they will go through a different part of the redstone back here. So they go straight up here and over some item filters. So the first two get the seeds and the moss carpets. So the seeds and the moss carpet, I don't really need to collect these. So these go straight through a composter, and then they get shot back out. So they get turned into bone meal and then shot back out, and then they go back through the system. And this actually joins up with the other part of the system that I just showed you up here. So the bone meal comes up here, and then it joins straight back. So that's where the bone meal came up from down below. So again, the bone meal either goes into the system or it goes straight past into the storage. And then the other item filters here, I've got the moss there, and then the azalea and the flowered azalea. So these just get picked up by the item filters and shot out into different water streams, which go to a different part of the storage system. So yeah, that's pretty much all the redstone. It looks quite complicated, there's a lot going on, and it is actually really simple. It just took me a long time to get it all sorted out for some reason. Like, there was a lot of little things to do, like this here. If none of the items get picked up the first time by the item filters, it goes back round. Then I had to make it go so it could actually fit back round. So I did just fall down there, but I had to make sure that the item stream came all of the way back round and then connected with this. And this actually took me like 3 or 4 attempts. I kept getting it wrong, and the items were getting trapped somewhere or getting stuck. But this way it does actually work fine. But there's a load of little things like this I had to mess around with and try to get right. And I got them wrong a few times and had to redo them. So yeah, there's quite a lot of stuff going on back here, but it is pretty simple. So I either turn the farm to bone meal mode, and then I get the bone meal, or it gets stored in the storage system, or I change it to the moss mode and it keeps the moss blocks, then the azalea blocks, and then the seeds and the carpet both get turned back into bone meal and then go through the system again. So yeah, there's a lot going on back here, but it's really not as complicated as it probably looks. And I didn't talk about the redstone itself for the farm, and that's just because I'm going to leave a link down in the description for anyone who wants to check that out. But I did change how to turn the farm on and off. So in the video, he's just got a lever on top of this piston, but I've connected a redstone line that goes down here, and it goes over here, and there is a lever on the back of this block here. So that's how I'm turning the farm on and off. But in the video, he's just got a lever like on top of the piston. So that's how the behind the scenes are looking. When I first started this project, it was just going to be a bone meal farm, but I decided to change it into the moss farm as well, and it took a lot of extra work, but I'm happy with how it's all turned out. And now I've got plenty of moss, so I was going to build a big moss farm at some point, maybe even in today's episode, but I don't need to do that now. I'm getting plenty of moss from this little one here. If I ever need a lot of moss for a project, then I probably will build a bigger farm than this. But for right now, this is working just fine for what I need. So I'm going to collect some of these items to check off the checklist. But before I do that, I've got one more farm to show. So this is a lot smaller, but this is a hanging roots farm. So if I turn this on, you'll see the hanging roots appear there. And then I could just break this, and they just keep coming back. Quickly show the redstone behind here. So there's really not much. I've just got 2 observers facing into each other, with a dispenser facing into the rooted dirt block. And then there's some redstone dust coming off the back of the lever and then it's just going on top of the dispenser. So that's it really, like 1 dispenser, 2 observers, a lane, 1, 2, 3, 4 redstone dust I think that is, and a lever. That's all you need to set up this thing. And then the rooted dirt. So when it's turned off like it is now, it will not regenerate any of the roots, but if I turn it on, it will keep regenerating them. It does make that annoying noise as well, but yeah. This is a very simple farm. I'm probably not going to use it loads, but it's just a useful one to have. For some reason, I thought that you could craft the rooted dirt blocks if you had the hanging roots and then some dirt, but apparently you can't craft those, so these are the only items that I managed to check off here. So I've got the moss blocks, the azalea, the flowered azalea, the moss carpets, and then the hanging roots. So that's another 5 items checked off there. But I also want to go ahead and get the azalea leaves and the flowering azalea leaves. So this should be pretty easy to do. So I've got a load of these flowering azalea bushes. I can just grow these and then get the leaves. And while I'm here, I actually just thought I'd mention this over here. So I tried getting a load more of the bees' nests. And the last time I did this, this is the way I did it. So I got the flowers down the middle and then planted some oak trees on one side, the birch on the other. So when a tree grows within 5 blocks of a flower, there's a chance that a bee's hive or a bee's nest, I always forget which one is the natural one, will spawn on the tree. But I've been doing this for quite a while and I've not had a single bee's nest or bee's hive. So I'm not sure if the game changed or something like that, but if anyone's wondering why there's like a load of trees planted around the base, that's why. I am going to get rid of them soon, because it's just not working. Okay, so that's all of the leaves collected now. So the full stack of the azalea and the flowered azalea checked off the checklist as well. And I'm not actually too far away from completing this chest. The dripstone and a dripstone block is pretty easy to get. I've got plenty of copper. I am going to have to build an amethyst farm at some point, and then I should be able to complete the full chest pretty easily after that. But I've looked at amethyst farms and they look pretty complicated because of how like unnatural they are, and everyone's is different, but that does actually look like it's going to be a fun project to work on at some point. But anyway, I think I am going to have to end the episode here. I think it's only going to be a shorter episode, but I've been working on this for about 3 weeks now, and I just keep running out of time and having to go places, or I've been invited out to things over like the New Year's and stuff. I really did want to get more done in today's episode, but I'm pretty happy with the progress that I made. I've wanted a moss farm for a while, and I've finally got one. And I think this is going to be episode 47 or 48. And I want to do a world tour on episode 50. So I think in the next couple of episodes, I'm probably going to end up finishing a lot of my current projects instead of starting new ones. But I might change the plan, I'm not really too sure. But I think it's probably smart just to finish some of my current projects before starting any more. But anyway, like I said, that's all I've got time for today. So I hope everyone enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.